So I recently made a video about this performance of the famous milonguero El Chino Perico with Paola Tachetti in this case. So I mostly made that video because this performance is a very beautiful, like lyrical Di Sarli, on which Chino Perico shows like really beautifully how to dance on the melody lines in the music, how to use the more melodic parts of the music. And this video was mostly aimed, I mean, whoever watches it is welcome, of course, but it was mostly aimed at trying to show leaders, so both men and women, of whom most are men, of course, but increasingly also women, how important it is to really listen to the music and to also use these melodic parts of the music, not just the rhythms, but also be able to dance on these all these beautiful melodies in tango that are everywhere. They're in every song, and some songs more than others. And this was a very beautiful Di Sarli with very obvious melody lines, and this milonguero has been dancing to this music for so many decades. He shows so well how to do that. And if you're interested in that, please look at the other video. In this video, I'm also going to be showing you pretty much the same footage, but I'm going to look at it from a different perspective. Because after posting my video that was, you know, admittedly mostly aimed at what the male dancer was doing. So of course I also saw what the woman was doing, but I was mostly focused in my explanation on what he was doing. It takes two to tango, and that's a cliche, but the longer you dance, and if you keep having this learner's mindset, the more you understand how important it is as a leader to also follow the woman in her movements, because you are inviting her to make a movement, but you also need to wait for her to make these movements and to finish these movements. I titled this video something like "When a Man, a leader, follows a woman, a follower," and I did that on purpose because this video is not about men taking the following role and following a female or male leader. No, it's about this more classic setup of the man being the leader and the woman being the follower, but the man being so both advanced in his tango as well as sensitive to be able to listen to her body as well and what she's doing and how she's interpreting her part of the music. So that's the two takes two to tango thing. So after I posted my video about this first video about this performance, I received two interesting private messages by female friends, and I want to paraphrase what they told me. So one of the first message I got, this woman told me, he is following her. So he's following her in the sense that he proposes a movement, but he waits for her so she can dance in the melody. So we're talking about the melody, and I was mostly talking about how a guy can dance to the melody, because I think that's like important as education, because I see way too many people who don't dance musically or only dance rhythmically, and then they don't seem to hear any melodies. But so this friend of mine is actually saying yes, but he's also following her. So that's another part of this performance. And yeah, she told me she likes it when a leader lets her finish her movement. So what his friend was specifically saying is that she also, apart from him being really beautiful in the music, she also saw the part of her being very beautiful in the music. And considering that I'm not a woman, I think I look more in general at what guys do in a performance, even though I also try to look at it the other way. But if a woman watches my video, my previous video, they'll maybe see other things, and that's what happened here. So that's very interesting. And then the second friend who sent me a message said, when I look at this, I also see how he listens to her musicality. So, like full of patience and confidence, they dance together so beautifully. And she said that highlighting this part as well might help leaders to be able to dance on these lyrical lines, because it's not just about you dancing on, I mean, the first step maybe is you dancing more musically, but then the next step, like the next key to really beautiful dancing, is when you also listen to how she interprets it, and if you have to be patient for that. So like I said, the more farther I come in my tango journey, the more I realize how both important and how beautiful it is to listen to the woman in my dance. And I've heard complaints in the past from women about certain leaders is that they dance alone. And I think that's a really bad thing if you dance alone. So I'm not saying that a woman should take over the lead or something. I'm just saying that there's so many moments in this dance when it means when you are an active follower as a woman, you don't just fill in a movement and wait for the next thing, but you are truly both listening to the music and to him, to the leader, and then you take a certain freedom sometimes to finish a movement in a certain way, or for example on a cross step, that you close it in like in the music and not just like, oh, some guy's leading me to a cross step, let's quickly cross, because that's not very musical. So it's like active engagement from the woman. So let's now look at the performance to see what at least I interpret as a woman really listening to this, and then also the man who is a master of dancing in this case, Chino Perico, how he does that, how he enables her to follow the music, and how he follows her in the process in a sense, while still being the leader. So it's funny when I look at this. I can almost it's almost I can simply see in his face that he's not only concentrated on the music, but he's also concentrated on what she's doing. And maybe I'm just getting some very subtle hints from when, like how he's looking at a certain moment. But for example, when I'm here, this is a very clear example of how he's waiting for her. This is so beautiful. Because, for example, this ocho forward, she's not only really in the music, but I also feel like it really becomes like they're melting together. And now when I'm skipping ahead to this section where they really dance on the melody line, on this one melody line, um, again, he lets her beautifully finish an ocho. So my first video is how he's so dancing so beautifully on this melody, and he is. But there's also this part of how they dance so beautifully together, and I almost have no words for what is happening. It's almost magical. I just really invite you to look at it. It's like a game of leading and waiting, and her finishing the movement, and he waiting for her, him waiting for her. So what I'd recommend, I think there's nothing else I can add to what I've already said. I think what I recommend you is in the YouTube description, you'll find a complete link to this performance. Just look at it again yourself, or just look at it again yourself, and whether you're a man or a woman, try to see if you can pick something up about the communication that's happening within this couple, because this really something I would love to see more. It's not a performance thing, it's really a dancing as a couple thing, and ideally you would be seeing it everywhere in the milonga as well. You don't, and the reality is not enough people really accomplish this "it takes two to tango" thing. It's too often it takes one to tango, and that's not really what we're aiming for after all.